Morning. All right, somebody's on. Morning. Sorry for the slightly late start. Have a little emergency with my son. I'm actually parked in front of the dentist's office waiting for him to open up because my son having a bad toothache. Anyway, so today we want to talk about protecting our children after another harrowing weekend. Hello Rosetta. Hi Neil. And everybody, thanks for joining me. Monday morning Medz. Another terrible weekend. A child is still missing. 13-year-old Julissa Reed, a grade 8 student from Queens, has been missing from Friday. She didn't go home. Her mother, Sasha Gay Essa, and they live in Southside, which is in Central Kingston. And her mom can't. She's been missing since. She's been missing. So I think based on everything that has been happening, the topic that we chose today, protecting our children, is very topical. It is very appropriate. Last week, the body of 14-year-old Raven Wilson, an Ocho Rios High student, was found after she was missing for a few days. And a few morning Paula, morning Angie. So this is something that is going on, right? And I can only pray for the mothers of these young victims. We still don't know what happened to Julissa. She's still missing. There's another child that I posted on my page as well. Dixon, I can't remember her first name. Morning Pierce, that's Jason. Morning Jason and Tashi. Morning everybody. But I don't know if it affects all of you psychologically like how it affects me. It's distressing. It makes us scared. Basically, we're afraid of my shadow, especially where my daughter is concerned. So hi comrades for action, thanks for joining. So how do we deal with this? I mean, what is further distressing is the lack of response from the authorities, especially the police. We feel like we have to be begging for the police to look into these cases of missing children. We have to be, I spoke to Sasha, who is Julissa's mother, and she's reported from the child go missing. She reported, and up to yesterday, which was 48 hours after the child was missing, nothing out of the police. She basically feels that the police are not helping her. It's the same thing with Raven's mother. I posted a Star article on my page which stated that Raven's mother in St. Anne felt that the police did nothing to help her daughter. She called them and give them leads. So the only thing we can do is to organize ourselves, because we don't know when it's going to happen to somebody that we know. We don't know when it's going to be our child. We don't know. And another thing, before I go any further, I don't want anybody to come and post them and of these missing girls and talk about the picnic them gone a man yard. When somebody is distressed, when you have a parent who cannot find her child, do not come on the post and talk about the little picnic gone a man yard. You don't know the child, you don't know the parent. Because if something like that happened to my child and somebody really said that, I don't know, I don't know when we'd have tried it to that person there. You don't know the circumstances under which these children are disappearing. And some of them, yes, they may have run away. Some of them, especially the troubled ones, may have gone wherever, but we don't know, right? We don't know. And we have to give that parent the benefit of the doubt that this woman is she's at the point where she's basically saying she's gonna kill herself if she can't find her daughter. She's seriously distressed. We need to be more considerate to the pain that these parents are going through, because it could have happened to any of you. Listen, it happened to me already with my son. I think it's even this year, where I could not find my child. right? I sent him to school, dropped him to school. I take my kids to school every morning. And I took my son to school. And him called me and tell me, say, I have school concerts. And I've been trying to call him and I couldn't find him. And when I went down to KC, he was not there. And them say him leave long time and him never come home. It was a Friday night. And me go police and police are telling me stupidness. Right? It so happened that my son was held up and robbed at gunpoint. The same stretch along KC where them talking, they're making a big deal out of now. That happening long time. It's not just now. Them holding up KC boys and George's boys and Holy Trinity children on that stretch is a long time. And my son was held up at gunpoint and he was at another police station and the police couldn't tell me that. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because it's like they have this lackadaisical attitude where missing children are concerned. And we have to understand that when a child goes missing, the first 4 hours of a child being missing are the most critical hours, right? That is when everything happens. That's when everything can go down. Now, that is when we need the police to act. So if the police are not acting, we have to organize ourselves and act. No, I've been calling for suggestions. I mean, somebody suggested to me that we try and form ourselves as parents in circles. And I mean, technology is so great right now that we can organize ourselves on WhatsApp and we can disseminate information quickly. We can choose that we can come together and help. Like this child, Julissa, who has been missing now for 72 hours, thereabout. If we can get together a search party and go help look for this child, put the feelers out, make sure that we disseminate the information everywhere. Because somebody said on my post, I spoke to somebody last night who said to me that, I mean, social media is one thing, but there are a lot of people who are not on social media. Morning, Lyndon. There are a lot of people who are not on social media, so they are not exposed to this information, right? And it not coming in mainstream media, right? We need to partner with the schools. We need to partner with the media to get this information out as quickly as possible, not just social media. Another thing we need to do is we need to lobby the Ministry of Education about this no phones in school policy where they have. My daughter's phone was confiscated because something, like she got some notification. I don't know, she forgot to put on silent or whatever. But it's ridiculous. You can't have children commuting and the parents can't contact them in 2018. No, let me tell you how ridiculous it is. I constantly complain that these ministries work in isolation from each other. I said it last week on Monday morning, Medz, when we were talking about nutrition. No, this is how it's ridiculous. The Ministry of National Security has an app called Stay Alert that has a distress button on it, right? And yet, the Ministry of Education as a policy doesn't allow children to take cell phones to school. How dumb is that? Do you understand what I'm saying? So when these children are in danger, they can't even alert nobody because they're not allowed to take phones to school. And it's the stupidest thing ever. You understand? So we need to lobby the ministry we need to lobby the schools. We need to think about these things. If it's a situation where you keep the kids school, like when my children were going to prep school, the prep school actually allowed them to take the phone to school, but they had to take it to the office until school over. They sign it in, you as the parent sign in the cell phone, and then, hi Georgia, thanks for joining from Florida. But basically what my children prep school did, you sign in the phone in the office, the parent signs it in, and at the end you sign it out. Basically my son's prep school does that now with his tablets, where you sign it in and then at the end you sign it out. The child signs it out, whatever, but at least there is some level of accountability. But in 2018 you cannot be telling children do not walk with cell phones at all, and people are picking and go missing all the time. So this doesn't make any sense, right? That is one suggestion. Another suggestion is that we, the parents, need to talk to our children. We're not educating them about the dangers that they face. Listen, they need to walk. We need to encourage them to walk in groups, right? And parents, if your child commutes, have the child go to wherever you are going to go, wherever you are going to be. So if it's work, they need to come to you at, let them come to you at work or somebody, but you have to ensure that they are discharged into the care of an adult. Do not allow them to go home by themselves after school, because listen to me, sometimes for instance, I used to commute. I used to walk home from school. I lived so close to school, I didn't have to take any transportation. But when I reach home, and if there is nobody there, my parents, I would have to use, because at that time when me did I go high school, we never have cell phone, never debut. So when you reach home, you have the house phone, you call your parent and tell them say you're home or whatever. You understand? But the bottom line is, do not send your child home knowing that there is nobody home, because you need to know when that child reach home. If it is possible for you to meet your child at the bus stop, because it's not everybody can drop them, pick them up from school. And the irony of the situation is Raven Wilson, who was killed last week, her father took her and picked her up from school every day, and unless there was some odd occasion, and it's on the odd occasion that this child was killed. The bottom line is, we are not equipped as a country to even investigate these crimes properly. Because me's a little criminal. I love them detective show there. I don't know who else is a detective show junkie like me. I love Law and Order. I love CSI. I love NCIS. I love Criminal Minds. And one thing I learned from watching those shows is that you have to look at the patterns. All of these children who have gone missing in the last couple of weeks, they all resemble. All of them look alike. Them could have passed as the same person, right? They could pass as sisters, right? They all go missing. Basically, it look like say them go miss. Apart from Yetania, the other two go missing like on them commute. We need to look for the patterns. I don't remember about, there were some missing last year too who were killed. I don't remember about all of them. But we need to educate our girl children. Walk in groups. If you have to commute in groups. Make them buddy. If you as a parent cannot pick up your child, or you can't walk to the bus stop, partner with other parents, a group of you and everybody. We used to carpool. When I was growing up, we used to carpool, because all of we in the neighborhood used to go to the same basic school. We used to go to Jamaica House Basic School, and our parents used to carpool. You understand? So even if it's not a carpool, it's a bus pool. Maureen Webber came on my post yesterday, and she suggested a safe passage for children, where parents would basically guarantee a parent would take a leg of the journey, of the most common journeys where students commute, and basically use technology to monitor the children, right? So basically every day you assign another parent for another location, because it has to be collective, you know, because listen to me, the police them not doing it. The police them is like they automatically assume that when a little girl goes missing, she gone a man's yard, or she run away, she and the parent had a fight, something. And we need to impress upon them that in this day and age, especially when children are raising when parents are raising their children who don't give any trouble, don't assume that, oh, this child run away out of the blue. Because if like for instance, a child like Julissa, who has been excelling at school, the child Raven, who excelling is our basically only daughter. Both of them are the same thing. Like my child is an only daughter. They're excelling. You don't expect that them just going get up and disappear. You know, every parent knows his or her child, you know, right? So we have to come together as the parents. We have to come together as the parents and decide to make the sacrifice for our children and for other people's children. Because I don't know this child, but yet it cut my belly the whole weekend. The whole weekend I have not functioned properly because this child has been constantly on my mind. And I'm hoping for the best, where the outcome of this boy. Right now, to how me feel, me da prefer to hear a little girl run with a man yard than something the worst could happen. That's how I feel right now, honestly. And we need the stakeholders to come together. We're not hearing enough from people, and I'm past that. I am beyond expecting people to we need to hear the politicians saying these things. The politicians have drivers and that take their kids to school, right? The politicians have security detail that pick up and drivers who go for their kids. So don't expect any help from them, because they basically don't understand where we are. Exactly, Angie. It doesn't matter whether they excel or give trouble. They are children. But that's the point. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. The police are saying, oh, they basically assume that every child that goes missing is a troubled child, right? Yes, there are troubled children that go missing, but a lot of children who are going missing now are not troubled children, and that is the point. You understand? Yes, we need stiffer penalties for the criminals, but before we even go into thinking about the criminals, we have to prevent it. We have to go into the prevention of it. We as the parents need to be vigilant, not for our own children alone, but for each other, picking them. Our children all, and I'm guilty of this too. I know some of my children, my children's friends, but I don't know all of them. And I think that is somewhere that we need to start. We need to get to know, we're picking them friends. We need to get to know the parents of our children's friends. When my daughter was in prep school, we were much better at that, because we used to carry each of them to the movies and things like that. But we need to go back there, especially the high school children. We need to know where that's my son's foot in the background. I'm getting bored now, right? But we need to go back to the point where we need to know our children's friends. We need to know where they could be. If we don't see them turn up, we can take up the phone and call the friend of the parents and say, do you know where is your child home? Have you seen my child? We need to know where them live. We need to know all of these things. It's very important, because if you don't know, you're picking them friend and them decide to them I go take up and listen, this is for whether your child commutes or not, right? We need to basically come together in groups, form parenting circles. We need to strengthen the Parent Teachers Association. We need to work with the National Parent Teachers Association. We need to ensure that we know each other as parents, right? We need the buy-in from the Past Students Association. I have a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, who is an old girl, Queen's old girl, and I messaged her immediately and asked her to rally the old girls to help. We need to get the help from the Past Students Association. So whichever school you go to, if you can volunteer to mentor a child, assist one child. I've seen my daughter's school does it. I know I'm friends with Amisha Samuels, who does mentor girls at my daughter's school because it's her alma mater. So if we can even get the buy-in from the students the past students who can give assistance to the children who are most at risk, because listen, every school has children who are more at risk than others. Children who have to commute, who come from tough inner city communities that are more at risk than others, and they have single parents, single mothers who can't basically watch them 24/7. So if you can find the time to assist some of these children, I mean, do it, because believe me, something have to give, right? And listen, Diana, I understand. I have a big son too, and you tell him don't follow a friend home, but at the end of the day, children are children are children are children. The other day, my son went to KC, and the other day, another child from KC followed a friend home, and that friend found a gun in his father's home, or his uncle's home or whatever, and they were playing with the gun, and that child, this KC boy, is now dead, right? Because he was playing they were playing with the gun, and he got shot in his head, just like that. So we have to protect each other children. We have to protect each other children. The first thing is, we have to take responsibility to not allow our children to be home by themselves, because things happen, and whether it's girl or boy. I remember back in my day, I left high school long time. I grew up in a community that adjoined JC, and those boys at that time realized that I was home alone in the afternoons, and they actually plotted to come in there and gang rape me as a child when I think I was in about third form at the time, right? Because them watch my movements. They could basically where our community was, they could see. The boys could see I mean, they put the American school behind there now, where I grew up. The American school now separates the community from where JC was. But basically, sometimes it's even children plot against other children. And I went to high school in the 90s. That's a long time ago. So imagine now when times are more dangerous. You understand? Thank God it didn't happen to me, because we have a very, even though I was home alone, we have a very vibrant community, and others could realize what was going on and come to my assistance, and I was able to lock up the house. And I don't even remember what happened after that. I think after that we had a babysitter permanently, because my parents understood that even if I commute, I don't think I was as young as 13. I think I was about 15. I was in about 5th form. But the bottom line is, things can happen to our children, right? That we have to foresee. We have to foresee these things. We have to think the worst. We have to basically say to ourselves as parents, suppose this happen, how would I deal with it? Suppose that happen, how? Put things in place. Me, OCD, and I look at things that happen. My children, for instance, go to school in the Crossroad area downtown. Suppose one tsunami or some natural disaster happen. Do you have a escape plan for your child? If something, listen, anything can happen, right? We have to protect them from not only criminals, we have to be able to protect them from natural disasters, everything. And I don't mean to stray, but what I'm saying is, as parents, you need to think far and beyond about what can happen to your child, right? So, I know that after when I'm live for too long, the phone overheats. I don't intend to stay much longer. But what I can say is that we need to come together as parents and share this video. I want as many ideas as possible. The thinking is that we can form a national parent protection circle where we can communicate with each other by WhatsApp. We can just put together parent protection WhatsApp groups. We can actually meet up. We can actually have designated parish reps. We can have designated community reps. We can have designated school reps. The bottom line is, we need to be organized. We need to be organized. We need to have a timeline of four hours, right? We need to basically establish a timeline for jumping into action when a child has not reported or turned up for 4 hours. And we don't care where that child is, we just want to find the child. That is the bottom line. We need to be less concerned with where the child is and more concerned with the safety of the child, because at the end of the day, it's better we find the child unharmed or than it's too late. Children plan, yes, Michael, children plan against parents, but the bottom line is, we have to foresee all of these things. We have to be our brother's keeper. So we have to learn. Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, one thing I appreciated was the fact that my community, basically the other parents, took an interest in all of us. You understand? So if something happened and my mother or my father couldn't look after us when I was younger, the next door neighbor who had children, we could go over there and stay right down the road. One of my closest friends, Kerry, and her parents, Nurse James and Tony James, used to look after me like I was their own child sometimes. You understand? Miss Suzette, who actually ended up taking care of my children for me, because she was like a few houses down. She used to babysit me. She actually if my mother promised to babysit and she reach home late, Miss Suzette still will watch my children for me. I mean, things like that. And Miss Suzette to me is like a second mother. These things don't happen anymore. You understand? Yes, Aleli, we can't wait for misfortune to reach. You see, a lot of these things, we get so content, we get so used to typing RIP or praying. Let me tell you something. Me's not no Christian, me's not no big Christian or no church person. I'll be the first to tell you that. But one thing me learn in church is prayer without, remember that saying that about prayer without works? So it don't make no sense to pray every day and we don't put no action behind it. We have to be proactive. We have to take action ourselves. You understand? And Daphne is saying that we must also be aware of conditions at home. Yes, remember the other day we had a 10-year-old who had run away from the poverty. The beautiful story with that is that her parents jumped into action. They were very proactive and realized that even though they were dirt poor, they stuck together. I mean, she had so many siblings, but the unity of the parents made a big difference with that little girl. You understand? Faith without works is dead. There you go, Alili. Faith without works is dead. But the bottom line is we have to treat all of these children like they are our own, right? We have to basically be responsible for each other children, right? Because we don't want it to reach our doorstep. I'm tired of saying RIP. I'm tired of post every day. People message me to post missing children on my page every single day. Sometimes I'm afraid to go in my inbox because of some of these notifications. I am telling you, some of them we find alive, especially the adults, because there are a lot of missing adults too. But up to weekend we had one that unfortunately was found in an abandoned building at Westgate Hills dead. You understand? So this is, if we as adults are under attack, and it's not women alone, because yesterday I posted a gentleman from New Haven who has been missing for 3 weeks. So if we as adults are under attack, imagine the children, right? So the only way we can combat this is if we unite and we act together, because something have to give. I'm tired, sick and tired now of posting missing children and praying that they are found safely, and praying to God, say, boy, it's better them we hear say them their man yard or whatever. But I mean, another thing that we have to consider, a lot of them never turn up, and a lot of them never come back. A lot of them end up in human trafficking rings. You understand? A lot of them end up in human trafficking rings, and it is serious. I watched an expose on YouTube the other day. A foreigner, white man had to rescue a Jamaican 13-year-old child that her own uncle was selling into sex slavery for $300 US. So this is a real problem. It's a real, listen, this is not no play thing, right? So we have to be vigilant, because if your own family members selling y'all kids, imagine what the strangers will do. We have to all be vigilant. You understand? Yes, Joe is saying we need, and that's I'm happy. You know, Alila and I were talking last night, and Alele came up with an idea of giving them whistles. I mean, back in the day, in the 80s, we had a very active and vibrant national neighborhood watch committee, and we basically set them up in communities. I don't know if anybody remembers. And we used it before cell phones, of course. Everybody had a whistle, and when you hear that whistle blow, I grew up in one of those communities that, I mean, listen, back in them days, then nobody don't even come in there, because if you come in there and try nothing as a criminal, chances are you're not going to make it out alive, because we had a lot of policemen, we had a lot of licensed firearm holders, and most of them they didn't come out alive. So after a while, criminals stopped targeting my community, and we were very safe for a long while. You understand? Even though I think the crime rate up there is extremely low. But the bottom line is we have to start campaigning. We have to teach our children. We have to give them whistles, anything. And we need, I'm never gonna stop singing on this, we need to lobby the schools to stop this stupid no cell phone policy. Put a policy in place where children sign in their cell phones in the morning and sign them out in the evening. These children are as much your responsibilities as school administrators as they are ours as the parents, because you have them there for at least 6 to 8 hours each day, right? It is our responsibility to ensure they get to you safely. You need to take responsibility to ensure that they get to us safely, right? You have to be active stakeholders in this thing too. And it is not just happening to any to non-traditional schools. This child that is now missing is from Queens, a traditional high school, right? So all the stakeholders need to come together I know the immediate past president of the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica is very interested. He expressed this interest to me. We need to get the buy-in. I know Keisha Hill has been campaigning. Keisha, as a school principal, I need you to seek the buy-in of other school principals about doing away with this stupid cell phone policy and putting in place something that we can actually have our children communicate. Remember, the Ministry of National Security has the Stay Alert app. If they don't have their phones, they can't give out that distress signal in that Stay Alert app. My daughter's phone have Stay Alert app on it. I downloaded it and put the app on there, and guess what? The school confiscated her phone because one day she forgot to turn off her phone. Normally I ensure, but one day I forgot to say, Sundari, make sure your phone is off and in your bag, and I forgot. And the notification came in from Digicel, SMS message or whatever, in the bag, and the teacher heard it and confiscated it, and she won't get back the phone until the end of the term. I pick up my children from school. You understand? It happened to my son too when he was at KC. No, I think that is so. If my child had to commute, take the bus to go home, how would I know? How would this child communicate with me? If something went wrong, how would this child alert me? We need to think about these things when we're making these archaic, stupid rules. Yes, we understand that cell phones are a distraction to the children, but what we can do. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding why you can't hear me, Marlene. I don't know why. I hope that everybody's hearing me. But what we can do, as I say, is put in place something where the students sign it in and then sign it back out, or somebody even can start building, like you see up at the embassy where you have somebody a hustle on the front, and actually you pay them to keep the phone, pay them a $50 to keep the phone until school over. Somebody we need to organize under them something here. You understand? Because yes, the teachers are allowed to take their phones to school, and yes, the teachers are allowed to confiscate the phones and put it in the office, and the children are left without their cell phones for the rest of the school term. Basically, it happened to my son a lot when he was at KC. I mean, especially when he was in 5th form doing MCXC, he was an art student. He did visual arts, and he would use his phone to take his work, to take pictures of his artwork. And they confiscated his phone, and it drastically affected his artwork, because it's like they're not incorporating technology into how they're teaching. So basically, they're still so archaic, because you want the children to use technology, but yet you won't allow them to incorporate technology in anything. You understand? And it's 2018 now, so we need to ensure that this technology is very advantageous. Technology can save some of them picnic life. This little girl who is now missing, her mother says she didn't have a cell phone. If this child had a cell phone, I'm hurting. Boy, every time I think about that little picnic, my belly button burn me. Oh God. Anyway, I think, yeah, we're at 8:35 now, so the time is up. But we don't have to stop the conversation. Let us keep the conversation. I'll be on the thread let's just keep the talk going. Keep coming up with ideas, and then we can try to put it in place. We can probably discuss this topic again on Monday morning with Medz another week. We have more. We have other topics to discuss, but this one is such a pressing issue that I know that we'll have to visit it again. Anyway, take care, everybody. That's Sebastian in the background. I'm actually in front of the dentist now. Hi. Say hi again. Nobody saw you. Hi. Right. So yeah. So take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week until we talk next week again. Take care. Hi, Romaine. Sorry you joined so late, but I'm done now. So bye. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. Blessings.